Hey folks, Brian from Easton Union here. Now, full transparency, this past week we were not able to get any fresh usable footage with the band. But I didn't want to skip a week because I think consistency matters. So today I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this whole YouTube experiment and how it's going so far. Hey everybody, we're Easton Union. In an age of auto-tune and AI-generated content, we're a band of 4 guys who still want to get in a room together and make something special. Now we want to pull back the veil and invite you all to join us as we strive to create the best art we can and give our music a chance to connect with real people out in the world. Whether you're a fellow musician trying to find your place in this digital landscape, or just someone who appreciates organic music played by humans, we hope you'll come with us on the journey. So it's been a little over 2 months since we kicked off our 1 video per week campaign for 2026. And since we made a commitment to being honest and letting you peek behind the veil, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about how it's going. Like I mentioned earlier, we didn't really have the opportunity to capture any full band footage that was usable for the channel. But honestly, that's just part of the ebb and flow of being in a band and of life in general. All 4 of us are pretty busy. And as much as I wish that we could give 40 hours a week to Easton Union, that's not a reality. We've got jobs and family, other projects, there are kids' sports, and whatever else life might throw at you in a given week. And it's weeks like this where it feels like the rubber really hits the road. This is when it would be easy to quit or just skip a week. And I suspect moments like this are when a lot of artists or would-be content creators lose momentum or maybe even walk away altogether. Now, maybe I'm just stubborn, but I really think this is exactly when you have to push through. So with that said, let's talk about how it's going. First off, we're getting better at filming and editing videos. Much like playing an instrument or writing songs, there's really no way to get better without practicing, without putting in the work. I'll humbly admit that I'm still an infant when it comes to video production knowledge and skills. But it is noticeably better than it was a couple months ago. One really encouraging thing is that the time it takes me to edit a video has essentially been cut in half over the last couple months. Now, I'm still way too slow, but I'm definitely improving. When we kicked this whole thing off at the beginning of the year, it was taking me about an hour of editing for every minute of finished video. Now it's closer to 30 minutes of editing for every minute of video. That's still not great, but it's definitely better. I'm also learning a really valuable lesson that longer isn't usually better. Kind of like those self-indulgent guitar solos that you might be tempted to put on a song when you're recording. Another really positive thing I've noticed has to do with the on-screen presence of the band itself. We've been setting up cameras at rehearsals, and we're slowly starting to forget the cameras are even there. We're just being ourselves, naturally. And I really hope that continues, because it allows us to capture those funny or magical moments in a way that's not contrived, corny, or staged. Heck, we've even managed to build an almost finished song from scratch and capture most of that process on camera. That's pretty cool. Now, when it comes to the talking head portions of these videos, like what I'm doing right now, those still feel the most unnatural to me. But it is getting easier. It's just weird. It's weird to stare into a phone or a camera lens and pretend you're talking to your best friend. I think that part is just going to take some time. Now let's talk about the challenges, because there have been some. And the biggest one so far has definitely been the technology learning curve. I like to think of myself as a fairly tech-savvy person, but video production and editing can really humble you. I've spent countless hours trying to figure out why something isn't working the way that I think it should. I was able to learn how to use Pro Tools and Logic by myself, and I assumed this would be a similar learning curve, but boy, did I underestimate that. Another challenge, and this is something I don't hear people talking about, is working with the files. Video files get huge really quickly. They fill up phones and cameras. They're difficult to transfer, and they take up a ton of storage space. Honestly, this is still something we haven't really figured out yet. So if any of you out there have good advice about file management, storage, or transferring video, please drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And then, of course, there's time. Like I said earlier, we're all busy. We have quite full lives. And while we're trying to build an audience here on YouTube to grow our fan base and allow us to keep making music, the reality is that learning these new skills and running this channel takes time. Time that sometimes cuts into that very little bit of time we actually have to create and play music. There have definitely been nights where I would have rather been writing a new song, but instead I was sitting at my computer editing video. Now, I do think it's going to get easier as we become more proficient and efficient, but I don't want to sugarcoat it. For any aspiring YouTubers out there, this takes a lot of work. And if you're not willing to put in the time, then it's probably not something I'd recommend jumping into. So that's where we're at right now. We're slowly building. We're slowly growing. We're learning something new every week, and we're just putting one foot in front of the other. We'd really love to hear what you think of the channel so far this year. And if you've got any advice, be it technical or creative, please share it in the comments. And if you're enjoying following along on our journey, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help, more than you might think. And until next time, much love, Easton Union.